What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel Wezot Talks, where I am an American talking about football, and in this case, it is Manchester United. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, but we've got the schedule drop reaction. We're not going to sort of early predict things as the transfer window is still ongoing, but we are able to react to the schedule. Honestly, the first little bit of the schedule later in the season will be a little interesting. A few quick little stories. Hitters, Martinez, is he coming to Manchester United? What's going on with Mbeumo? A lot of stuff is in the works or behind the scenes happening, and we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. And first and foremost, we'll start off with Martinez. He's offered himself, this is according to Ben Jacobs, to Manchester United and has made it clear that he is willing to join if they make an approach. United are yet to make a decision on Onana's future. It could take close to $40 million in order for a deal to get over the line in the coming weeks. I know we talked about it in the last episode that Onana, I thought, was pretty much staying at United. So this is a bit interesting, but would this be worth it, bringing in Martinez, one of the world's best goalkeepers, World Cup winning goalkeeper? I know he may have to sit, I think he does have to sit out the first 3 games of the season due to that red card against United in the last game of last season, which is pretty ironic. If United end up bidding for him, get him, bring him in, he's got to sit the first 3 games. So that would kind of be pretty hilarious. I think it would be... Again, I don't know where they're going to get the money because they need to get the Mbeumo deal over the line. They need to work on a striker deal. There are some other things. I think they need to work on goalkeeper being third on that list behind Mbeumo, behind a striker, a.k.a. Gyökeres, and then potentially a goalkeeper depending on what they can do with Onana as well as what they can do with Rashford, Antony, Sancho, Garnacho, Malacia. I might be butchering his name as well, so I do apologize, but those are just quick hitting players that they do still need to move on from, or have been in reports that they are looking to move on from them. You've got Højlund as well as a potential moving out of the club, so a few different players. And Mbeumo, according to Fabrizio, United remain in control of the Mbeumo situation. We know with clubs like Brentford, Brighton, is always difficult to negotiate for their top players, so it's not easy to reach an agreement. I know it goes on further to say in another report, I do think that there is a thought that if Mbeumo and Cunha do happen, then United's front line could potentially be a rotating carousel with those two each potentially occupying the number 9 role at different points. That would be quite interesting, and I do apologize for the barking in the background. It is the pupper's birthday. I don't see a world where United play a season without a striker, a true number 9 like a Gyökeres, like a Mateta, like a potentially Osimhen. I don't see them playing with one of those, like Cunha playing up top as a number 9. I don't see it in their cards. But I'd suppose the main point of this video is kind of initial reactions to the schedule, initial release for the Premier League next season, and it is a gauntlet to start. First 5 games, you're playing 3 of the top 6 teams in the league. Home against Arsenal, that's going to be really tough. And is it going to be basically Gyökeres' first game, regardless if it's for Arsenal or United? That would be kind of funny how that works out. Away at Fulham, always tough to go to Craven Cottage and get a win out of there, especially recently for the way United have been playing the past couple of years. Home against Burnley, I do think that they should get that over the line for potentially their first victory of the season. I think the Fulham game could go either way, win, loss, draw. Arsenal, most likely going to be a loss. You've got a game against Man City on the 13th of September at City. That's going to be a really tough game, depending on where City are at with the moves that they've made and the cohesion that they can get their team up to at that point. I know earlier in the season it is going to be a little bit harder for teams to get going. That's why you kind of hope for big games to be end of September, early October, like the Man U Liverpool game, October 18th. I think teams will know who they are, hopefully in good form both ways. But there, I mean, you got Chelsea as game number 5 at home. I mean, the one bright side to that is it is at Old Trafford. So that's not really a gimme. That's a draw loss potentially, depending on what transfers United can get over the line. Brentford away from home, that's going to be a tough game. Although if we get Mbeumo, that'd be a cool little reunion. You think United could get it over the line there. Home against Sunderland, I fully expect them to get the dub there. Again, away at Liverpool, it's going to be tough, especially it looks like Fabrizio has also reported that the Wirtz deal is probably going to get done here in the next day or two. So you could honestly chalk up a win for Liverpool. Brighton, always a tough game, but at least it's at Old Trafford. But that really doesn't mean anything these past couple of years, being the fortress that it once was. Nottingham Forest away from home, potentially a tough matchup there. Tottenham away, November, potentially a tough one. I don't know what their team's going to look like under Thomas Frank or how they are going to play. And then a home match getting close to the end of November against Everton. I'm only going to really react to the first couple of games or talk about them here or just recap them. But the first 5 games, that is a gauntlet. Arsenal, City, Chelsea, 3 of your first 5 matches. I mean, that is a potentially 9-point drop if they lose all 3 of those games. And then you are hoping to win Fulham and Burnley. So only getting 6 points out of the first 5 games, I think, would be pretty catastrophic. If let's say they go draw Arsenal, first game of the season, teams trying to figure it out, could potentially see like a 0-0, 1-1, 2-2 type draw. Let's say they beat Fulham, so that's 4 points. Let's see they beat Burnley, that's 7. Loss against City, loss against Chelsea. So you're sitting on 7 points out of the first 5 games. A little bit better if you could maybe draw or even get a sneaky win against City or Chelsea, and sitting on potentially 10 points out of those first 5 games. I feel like you're sitting at least top 6 in the league after the first basically month of the season. That's a much better spot to be than obviously if you got off on the wrong foot of going 2-3, or let's say lost to Arsenal, draw against Fulham, a win against Burnley, and then 2 losses. 4 points then out of 5 games would be, I would say, realistic worst case scenario. Obviously, ultimate worst case scenario is you lose all 5, but realistic worst case scenario for United is going 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses. That would be a tough way to start the season. I can already see the Amorim out tweets and news and reports and just absolute nonsense. So this schedule, I think at the end of the day, will force United to kind of get in the passing lane in terms of getting deals done quickly when it comes to both purchasing and selling of players, because they need to bring their team in now to get a proper preseason in so that they hit the ground running. Because again, you're playing 3 of the top 6 teams in your first 5 games. But I want to know what you guys think of this initial release of the schedule. Looks like first game against Leeds United, which I know is a massive rivalry back in the Premier League, is going to be January 3rd, and that is going to be at Leeds United. So that'll be a very interesting one there. But I want to know your guys' comments about the schedule. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the potential Martinez move? Again, there's nothing concrete that United have reached out whatsoever. But if Ben Jacobs is reporting that Martinez would like to be signed, it sounds like he wants to go to United. So that's pretty cool there. Can United get the Mbeumo deal done, or are Tottenham going to swoop in with Thomas Frank and steal Mbeumo? I don't see it happening, but I want to know your guys' thoughts. But if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you guys are new. And that's going to be it for this one, and we will check in with you guys in the next video.